They were living their lives either beneath the ground or deep within concrete. They were buried. Somehow this was endurable. Across the city of Berlin, there were 1,000 or so specially constructed air raid shelters, but these could accommodate only a fraction of the city's population of just under 3 million. There were also the basements beneath apartment blocks, cellars beneath houses, and the stations of the U-Bahn underground system. There were even slit trenches. Subterranean passages, prospects of rough concrete enlivened by angry propaganda posters, offered comfortless sanctuary. Civilians crammed too close together, gazed up at curved ceilings or at one another, and they blinked at each muffled boom above that reverberated with a resonance that could be felt in the bones. By the first week of April 1945, the rhythms of civilian life in Berlin had been sharpened to a point of terrible simplicity. The daylight quest to find rations, any food at all, with silent, near motionless queues that could last for hours. The weary walks through wrecked streets in thinning-soled shoes smothered with dust, entire districts deconstructed and rendered unfamiliar, with new views and prospects and disorientating absences, the cumulative effect of months of heavy bombing. The previous month had seen an especially frenzied raid, as though the Allied bombers had been seeking simply to smash the city into the earth. Even so, in the suburbs there were some factories that had not been shattered by high explosives, worked by huge numbers of forced labourers drawn from across Europe, and that labour continued, albeit with intermittent supplies of electricity and water. The city's still-functioning power stations continued to hum, tall chimneys exhaling white smoke. The vast and architecturally elegant generating station of Klingenberg, which cast its shadow over the river Spree in the east of the city, was itself kept alive by intelligent forced labourers who were making shrewd calculations about the future of the city and about which of the Allies would be the first to claim it. The U-Bahn was still, somehow, broadly functioning, though only on the lines that had not received direct hits, and strictly for those who needed it for work or military purposes. With depressing frequency, the weary cry of the city's air raid sirens, low and throaty, would begin the race back down to the underworld. Since the autumn of 1943, Allied bombing raids had killed and mutilated thousands, rendering entire streets and districts practically uninhabitable, although there were those who stayed among the ruins, unwilling to leave. Those citizens whose cellars and shelters had not imploded would emerge each morning into days that looked like night, the sky above grey and dense, sometimes smouldering yellow with the dust and the ash. The air itself seemed burned. Unextinguished fires brought fumes from wood and paint and rubber. With handkerchiefs over mouths, mothers and grandmothers looked on as the civil defence authorities retrieved bodies, many in fragments, from beneath the grey brick and stone. Any individual death had lost its sanctity. Mass burials had been efficiently arranged, yet still a pervasive sweetness in the air signalled decay. Clearly not all the remains had been recovered from the rubble. This was not for want of purpose. The firefighters and the police and other civic workers remained dedicated. Like the hospitals, though, they were overwhelmed. There were instances when ideology dissolved amid destruction. The small Jewish hospital in the northern suburb of Gesundbrunnen, founded in the 18th century and the sole Jewish institution to survive the war in Berlin chiefly because of its facilities and expertise, was, by the end of the conflict, simultaneously hiding Jewish fugitives and treating Gentiles.